I want to talk about something that most of us never do. We never look back to see how far we have come. And what do I mean by that? We've got stuck because we've hit a wall or we're just not quite feeling right about where things are going. Nothing seems to be working. And our mind starts telling us that we're not making any progress and we're falling behind and this next thing just isn't for us. And I hear this all the time. People are feeling down and out because they think that they've made no progress. But one thing that we've not considered is that our voice is lying to us. Because what we really haven't thought about is how far have we come from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Today, what I want to do is I want to try to fix that. So let's take a moment and let's look back. There was a time in my life that I was just not feeling really good about things. Didn't feel polished, feeling like I'd made tons and tons of mistakes, feeling like nothing in my life was going right. And probably it wasn't. But the thing was, I'm better than that now. I've improved. I've actually accelerated my progress because what happens is as we start to push ourselves to get that little tiny bit better every single day, before you know it, a decade has went by. And we look back and we start to realize that the person that we were doesn't even know the person who we are today. So I remember, growing up in a small town, I remember thinking about there was absolutely no way I was going to get out of this town. Not a lot of money. The house was kind of falling apart. Looking around, I had no roadmap. I was 100% sure that I was going to be working in some coal mine or some place that was a factory, and I just wasn't sure of myself. There wasn't a blueprint. Everything in my life at that time was survival. And I can even jump 10 years from that moment and look back and think, I still didn't know what I was doing. I still didn't know what I was going to become. Now I want to fast forward. And here's the thing. I started taking these little steps. Started thinking about how can I actually improve my life. Number one, I had to become a better person, a better version of who I was, because I wasn't happy with that person. I had to figure out how I was going to get my finances straight. There were things that I wanted to do and I knew I wasn't going to be able to do them, but how was I going to make that happen? Number three, I had to figure out what steps in real estate was going to get me to where I wanted to be, because I knew the stock market wasn't the route I wanted to take, right? And so I started taking these little steps, started reading these books, started making some changes in my lives, just started doing some things to improve myself. And that version back then of me, I'm honestly a little ashamed of him, right? Not quite the person that I wished I had become, not the person that my grandfather would have liked to have seen me become. And so I bet if you're honest with yourself, you kind of have the same thing. You look back, you're not really quite sure who you were and or what you were doing, and there's probably some things that you wish that you could forgive yourself for. And what I'm here to say is go ahead and forgive yourself. And now what I want to do is I want to jump back to today. And I want to talk about what the actual problem is. When we're saying that we're failing today, what we have failed to realize is that we are measuring ourselves completely wrong. We're still comparing ourselves to someone else's journey, someone else's path, someone else's middle that we may just be beginning, right? Our progress to perfection is never going to happen. What we hope is that we take these little tiny steps to get a little better. And as we look back, we've noticed we've climbed these mountains, mountain after mountain after mountain, to get to become the person that we are today. Now, here's the thing. Progress doesn't feel like progress when we're in the middle of it. It feels like confusion and stress and slow movements and setbacks, and things are never going to be okay. And those feelings are the exact same feelings you probably had 5, 10, 15 years ago. You've just forgotten about them now. because it's not part of your journey anymore. You're further along. So, what I want to do is I want to shift this. And instead of asking, why am I not where I want to be? I want you to start asking, where was I last year? Where was I a decade ago? Where was I 20 years ago? And in those moments, where was I mentally? Who were the people that I was surrounding myself? Have I changed that? Have I gotten better? What did I believe about myself at that time that I've actually come back and changed now and better made myself a better version of it? Because here's the truth. When you start to zoom out, you're going to start seeing something that's really, really powerful. You've learned skills. You've built resilience, right? That $20,000 loss of the flood at that moment in time in my life, I thought I was never going to come out of it. We have survived those moments in our lives that we never thought we were going to pass. And those are not small accomplishments. Remember, at the moment in time, those were everything. Now, let me hit you with this. The person you are trying to become is going to be the foundation, right? Is going to be from the foundation that you've already built today. And if you can never appreciate the actual foundation, you're never going to have confidence in where you want to go with your life. You're not starting over. You're building on top of what you've already done. Every failure, every lesson, every early morning, every uncomfortable decision. So think about this. You're not behind. You're in the middle of a new build. And here's the great thing about it. If you don't quit, in 5 years from now, you're going to have a whole new mountain to climb. And isn't that what we're trying to get to? So I want to leave you with this. I want you to sit down. I want you to take a moment to actually look back. Write down those things that you've improved upon. Write down those steps that you've taken over the last 10, 15 years and ask yourself this. Would the old version of you be proud of yourself today? Because I'm going to tell you something. I'll bet they would be. So what I'm going to say is keep going. Keep becoming a better version of yourself, because that old you from 5 or 10 years ago is counting on the new you today. Thank you.